Okay, here we go. I'd like to call a meeting to order. First thing we'll have is a pledge of allegiance, and then we'll have Mr. Hennigan lead us in our invocation. Please stand, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, dear Lord, I humbly approach you in the name of your precious Son, Jesus Christ. Lord, today I am reminded of uncertainty in the city I love. The winds of change are upon us. I feel the sands of time shifting around my feet. But thank you, Lord, for placing my soul on bedrock, namely you, Jesus. Lord, if I can, and reinstill the confidence and the love, all the love that we possess in you, I would like to offer that I praise you, Jesus. You are my life and my love. And all those that agree, feel free to say amen. 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 You are the Lord of lords. Amen. Amen. You are Christ the King.
Amen.
Amen. You are the King of creation.
Amen.
You are the light of the world.
Amen.
You are the way for our life.
Amen.
You are the only truth.
Amen.
You are the Prince of Peace.
Amen.
You are the living Word.
Amen.
You are our Redeemer.
Amen.
You are the Messiah.
Amen.
You are the Good Shepherd.
Amen.
You are the Rock of all ages. Amen. You are our fortress. Amen. You are our victory. Amen. You are our salvation. Amen. You are our wisdom. Amen. You are the great I am. Amen. You are our joy. Amen. You are our defense. Amen. You are our protector. Amen. You are our provider. Amen. You are all that I need. Amen. You are all that I want. Amen. You are our strength. Amen. You are the Almighty. Amen. You are the Alpha and the Omega. Amen. You are the Savior of the world. Amen. And thank you, Lord, for this opportunity. Well, there's a brother in attendance that has told me of the passing of his brother-in-law. A good man, well loved. To be loved so by a brother-in-law is a great accomplishment in life. We lift him up to you, Lord, loving hand, and carry heartfelt thoughts for the strength of man to love another in such a way. And with this I conclude in the precious name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Okay, we have two citizens in the audience, both of them. Oh, you like a roll call? Make a roll call, please.
Mr. Hayes.
Here.
Mr. Cryer.
Here.
Mrs. Bates. Present. Mr. Rocca.
Here.
Mr. Brown.
Here.
I'm here. First we invite is Jeannie Weiss. Jeannie is the Senator Vetter's Office local rep, and she would like to speak for a minute. Ms. Jeannie, it's your floor, ma'am.
Thank you, Mayor Hardy. I appreciate it, and I thank you all, councilmen and women, for having me today to say hello, and those of you that are attending tonight. I am the regional representative for Calcasieu Parish, along with Alan Cameron, Jeff Davis, and Beauregard. So I represent your parish, and I do casework for the center, federal casework, and this pertains to veterans that are having issues with their appeals. We also have cases pertaining to FEMA, HUD, those type of federal cases, but we have 7 offices throughout the state. And so I just wanted to let you know that I am your regional representative. If you have any problems, please call me. Our office is downtown in Lake Charles on Ryan Street. And your city is beautiful. It's growing. I met with the mayor a few weeks ago, and you all have so much to offer to Calcasieu Parish with the growth coming up. I do certainly thank you all for your time and your efforts that you do for this city, and I look forward to working with all of you. Please send me, Mayor, any events that you have that are upcoming.
Okay.
I would love to attend those, okay?
Okay,
Thank you so much.
thank you, ma'am. The next one we have is Mr. Charles Dalguies. He is the Bustani representative for this area, for Congressman Bustani.
Thank you. Good afternoon, evening. I just wanted to introduce myself. I've talked with the mayor several times. I am Congressman Bustani's representative for Calcasieu, Cameron, and Jeff Davis parishes. I like to think of my job as being a conduit of information. I come around to spend time in the communities. I meet with Mayor Hardy at least once a month, drop in and visit with him and the other mayors, and I provide information back to the congressman on what's happening in the community and what the issues are and problems. Likewise, I've provided information down to the citizens if they have issues. Like Jeannie, our office has caseworkers available. We handle VA, VA, FEMA, Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security. If you have an issue with one of those agencies, please contact our office. If you can't, the ladies up front, they have my number because I come by every month passing out my cards, or you can call our office. I'll be glad to meet with them. We are not the agency where you file for Social Security. I want to make that clear. A lot of people think they can come to our office and they can file for their Social Security. We will help you if you have an issue. If the Social Security or any other federal agency has said, we'll get back with you in 2 weeks, and it's now been 4 weeks, it's time to call us, and we'll see if we can shake that answer loose for you. But likewise, I try to stay involved with the community. I have a little more special interest in what's happening in Westlake because I live in Westlake. So this is a place that I take a little more special care about. And thank you for letting me talk, and I'll let you get on.
Thank you, sir. Thank you both for attending. First item we have, council, is on your consent calendar. I'll need a motion and a second to approve the consent calendar. I have a motion by Mr. Rocca.
Approve.
I have a second by Mr. Brown. Any discussion on that item? Okay. I need your votes, please. Passes unanimously. We have 2 bids tonight. The first bid is Resolution 3214. That's awarding the chemical bids. If you'll look at your packet, there was only one of the 4 actually bid the complete package, which is C&L Aqua Professionals. And I will need a motion and a second to approve this resolution to let C&L at $71,733.03. I have a motion by Ms. Bates.
Approve.
To approve, second by Mr. Rocca. Any discussion on buying the chemicals? We went out to bids for 4. That's the only one that bid. Stephen, you good with that?
Yes, sir.
I'll ask you to vote. That's unanimous. The second one we have on bids is for gasoline. Each and every year we go out for bids on it, and this was the same price increase. It's basically marked up per gallon, whatever the per gallon markup per price. It's the same. We only had one bidder again, Pumpelly Oil. So I will need a motion and a second to approve accepting the bid from, that we opened these bids up June the 9th at 10:45, Resolution 3215. I have a motion by Ms. Bates, To approve. A second by Mr. Brown. Any discussion on that? If not, please cast your vote. Carries unanimously. The next one we have is A, on the discussion item, will be your first discussion item of the night, is adopting ordinance 884. That's amending the budget for 2014-2015. This is a corrected budget to close out to the actual numbers that we used last year. I'll ask you to give me a motion, and then we'll ask anybody in the public that would like to comment on this. I have a motion by Mr. Rocca.
Motion to approve.
To approve. Brown to approve. Second.
Approve.
Anyone in the audience would like to discuss the amending budget, the budget that we amended to actual numbers? They're not great, but they're accurate. Okay, need your vote, please. It's unanimous. Okay, your next one is you need a motion second to approve or disapprove adopting ordinance 885. That's adopting this year's budget that Mr. Milner has put together for us this year. This is next year's budget, and Jerry will go through a few discussion with you. I have a motion by Mr. Rocca,
To approve.
second by Mr. Brown. Jerry, you have the floor, sir.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Y'all have three documents, really, and one of them says the budget amendment, which y'all just approved. That shows the original budget and then the individual budget amendments by department. So we're not gonna go through all those, but that's what supports the budget amendments, is that document. The document we wanna talk about right now is, I have the first page, it says City of Westlake, total funds, budget 63016. And it's, I have it summarized by the general fund, waterworks, gas department, capital projects, West Trace, and debt service. I'm gonna come back to the first page, but I wanna go to the third page, okay? And on the third page is what all the different departments' budgets looks like. I have a year-to-date column. I'm looking at the general administrative budget. The first one, general fund, general and administrative. I have the year-to-date, 531, and then I had the projected year-end budget, actual expenditures at 63015. I'll have the total, the revenues detailed out, the expenditures detailed out. And then I'll come to net operational revenues and expenditures. That means what the operation, net income is, income minus expenses. And then I'll have transfers detailed out that go, to the other funds. You know, so I may have transfers in from other funds, transfers out to other funds. But this year, our transfers go to debt service. So everything that we've made this year, budgeted for 63016, will go to debt service to pay the debt service payment. Please go back to the first page. You'll see the column is the third to last column. It says general fund, it shows a net income of, it's gonna be net 44,657 ahead. Waterworks would be 143,688. Gas department 681. Net income for the year projected for 63016. Capital projects 474,725. West Trace 271,750. We do have we do have a separate budget for golf course that Jerry prepared that is separate and apart from these documents, which is that single page attachment that we have, or single page that we'll go over in a minute. But I stay focused on this page if you don't mind right now. And then we show that all the monies that we've made in from general fund down to West Trace goes to fund debt service. The debt service payment of $2,755,065 includes last year. So we're going to fund the deficit. That $1,138,000 is going to be funded by transfer, and that's on the second page. What I did,
That was on what?
the second page, that's going to
I
be
know,
used.
but.
It's gonna be used, we're gonna use cash that we have now,
Okay.
reserves, to pay a portion of that deficit. $1,144,000 is on the second page. We're gonna take cash from the general fund, 300, gas, so forth, to come out with $1,144,000. And that's gonna leave us, after that payment, about $500,000 in cash. So we have a budget that's gonna be in balance after that transfer. And, I think we can fund everything if we don't have any bumps in the road. We can't afford any major bumps in the road because, major, like a water well goes out or something, we're gonna be in a bind. But we're gonna be able, our goal is to make the debt service payment, and go on down the road. The next few years, you'll have a sheet showing the debt service payments. I made it here. The last column shows our debt service payments. And as you can see, through 2019, they're in the 1,700,000 range a year. Then it goes down to about 1 million. And so if we can survive, our goal is to keep, well, we had to leave lean and mean until that time. And, our departments have lost people, and they're doing with less people. Brad has taken, and I know in Public Works is doing with 7 less people and doing a good job, but they are down to bare bones, and that's where we're gonna have to stay for a while to be able to fund this debt service payments. But we do have a budget that's in balance, like I said, we can't have a large contingency. We're not prepared for that, but, we're going down the road, and at least we're making our debt service payments, and we're not defaulting on that, which is important. And, we're just looking for better times, but we're gonna have to struggle till we get there.
Great. I'd like to commend Jerry for the fine job he's been doing there on this. I know Dan and I've been working with him on it, but he's put in a lot of long hours and all that. And thank you again for helping us get
Well,
Second that.
a goal to shoot at.
well, we got a big target. It's not hard to see. And then Jerry has prepared this other sheet that's on, this shows the National Golf Club of Louisiana. And his budget for 2016 is similar to ours. It's very lean and mean. But at the bottom, we show you that has made, projecting $252 profit. So it's a plus. And he's like us. I mean, but it's, they've come a long ways, and their revenues have increased, and I think they're making progress, which is a good thing. And so I think the city, has something, we're very, we're hanging in there, and we keep swinging that bat, and I think we're heading in the right direction. It's just gonna take us a while to get where we need to be, and we're all gonna have to sacrifice to get there. But I think I see down the road, we could get where we need to be. So, anybody have any questions? And by the way, I'm gonna be available at any time. I mean, this is a large document. I don't anticipate going through all this tonight.
No.
But I will be available at any time with any of y'all. Just call me and we'll go over it, and you can ask me any individual questions that you have.
Want to make sure that the public understands, we're going to have in 2016 a debt of $1,750,000, $187. We have to come up with that next year. And I know that's
Every
good, but I just want to make that, every year, so.
Every year for till 2000.
What we need to do is pray, that the good Lord help us somewhere along the line, because we need it.
I mean, I'm
Wanna make
always
that
open
clear.
to that.
But you're doing a great job, Mr. Jerry. Thank you.
Yes, I thank you very much.
We just need to stay lean and mean and hope for some manna from heaven, huh? Thank you.
Well, Jerry went over the budget. This is not the first time they saw the budget. They've had meetings with him last week and the week before to get it ready, and he's got the hard numbers. And, yes, we've cut back, which means services maybe the grass won't be mowed every week, it'd make every 3 weeks, but we're gonna hang in there until we get it right. The budget is balanced, but it would be like at your homes, this is what I told Jerry, let's put it simple where I could understand it. We can't have a bobble, okay? The air conditioner can't go out, the car can't have a problem, the hot water heater better run another year. So there's all kinds of things. And yes, do we think that's gonna happen? Yes. Tomorrow, there's a meeting with the head of the department heads with me tomorrow. Just because they have this much money on that line item doesn't mean you're gonna spend that money, okay? We've got it budgeted to close to where we spent this year. In the last 6 months, they've spent very little. We've cut as much as we could. We cut $1 million out of the budget just in individuals and retirement and other things. We're in a position in Westlake that we need more policemen. We need this, and we need the fire. We've got money. The recreation with Mr. Letard and that group has helped us. The fire board has helped us, and we're going after some more help, okay? So, again, like I told everyone that's been up here with their arms in their hair and screaming and hollering, don't think for a minute that we're not gonna be looking for ways to help our revenue in the city of Westlake. That's what we're here for, and we're gonna do whatever we can to raise revenues. Got a lot of projects. We don't have to worry about them. Mr. Myers has a whole lot of projects for us, but we're gonna have to set them on the burner. They're not even, the pilot light's burning, but there's no flame. So we're going that route, okay? So everybody understands it. I have a motion by Mr. Rocca and a second by Brown to accept the budget this year, and let's just hope we run well. Need a vote, please. Mr. Cryer, thank you, sir. It's unanimous. Okay, the next one is C. I don't have anyone signed up on that, so we're gonna have a Resolution 3216. That's authorizing the mayor to enter into a understanding of service with Grayson, Cassidy, and Gilry, LLP. That's to do the audit for next year. We went out and got bids for the audit for the city, and they're very close all the way around, but this was the low bid with Grayson. The man that's gonna be doing this is Mr. Coy Vincent. He's the contact. He's already came in and visited with Jerry. We have to get this approved. Is that correct, Jerry? We had to send in papers to the auditors, the state auditors, to make sure that they're okay, the legislative auditors, to make sure that they're okay with this group doing our audit. And I've expressed to Mr. Coy Vincent that he does not work for me. He works for the city, and he works for these 5 up here. And we expect him to keep us up to date. When he does any part of this city hall, then he can report to these 5 to where they know exactly where they're at in their audit. So I need that motion, please, to approve this resolution. I have a motion by Mr. Rocca.
To approve.
Second by Mr. Hayes. Y'all got any more discussion on Mr. Coy? And y'all will get to meet him at your next meeting. He'll be here if he's approved. Mr. Rocca, I need you to vote, please, sir. Thank you. It's unanimous. Okay, D, we need a motion second to approve or disapprove discussing the drainage issue on Garden Drive between Gilry and Walker. And I have Ms. Moore signed up to deal. Ms. Morgan, I'm sorry, Ms. Sandra. I need a motion, please, to discuss. Motion by Mr. Cryer, second by Mr. Hayes. Vote, please, to discuss. It's open for discussion. Ms. Sandra, oh yeah, not you, sir. That's right.
Hello. I'm Sandra Morgan. I live at 1107 Garden Drive. We moved here in 2006 from the country, where we flooded 2 or 3 different times. When we moved to Westlake, we didn't want to go to the river where we looked at a house because we didn't want to flood anymore. Just plain and simple. I'm tired of moving and repairing houses. And I thank you. You and Brad came to the house, and we talked about the property behind me and the gravity and drainage board. That's great.
Okay.
Today, we had 1 inch of rain. I had 10 inches of water on the road. What are we going to do? Today was 1 inch. There have been times there's 18 inches of water on that road. Do we need to clean the drains? Do we need to go put new pipes in? What do we need to do?
I met with Mr. Myers, and we're gonna look at it again and see where we can get another outfall out of there.
Can you give me a
Brad,
time frame?
It's solved by this, right? So, if I had all the money in the world, I'd tell you we'd cut you a ditch. But Mr. Myers and I are gonna look at it, and ma'am, I'm with you on the water. I'm tired of the water. I have flood insurance on
I
Linda
do too.
Drive. On Linda, I'm
My
way-
insurance agent laughed when I went and got
I
flood
did
insurance.
too. I have it, but we're gonna, I can get back with you is all I can tell you.
Okay.
And I met with Richard
Okay.
again today on it also.
Oh, I know.
Okay.
Thank y'all.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Okay, the next one is E, and we have two individuals to speak on that, but let's get things started. On E, needed a motion and a second to approve or disapprove reopening the Westlake Police Department shooting range.
Mayor, I'd like to ask that we table this issue for right now.
I don't have anything on the, if you're making that motion?
Yeah, I'm gonna make that motion.
Before you make the motion, I think we ought to vote for this thing, get it out the way, instead of putting it off like we've been doing on some of these issues. So I'd like for us to vote on that, Mayor.
I have
It's
a
up to
motion
council.
I have a motion on the floor by Mr. Cryer to table. I do not have a second. His table doesn't stand if you don't second. And on the agenda, it says I need a motion and second to approve or disapprove reopening. Mr. Stephen, the motion, yes, that motion fails. But we on the agenda, it says,
Okay, well, I make a motion, we disapprove the reopening of the shooting range.
I have a motion by Mr. Rocca to disapprove reopening. I have a second by Mr. Brown. It's open for discussion. Anyone? Let's see, let's get Mr. Lambright. Lindell Lambright? Mr. Lindell, give your name and where you live and all that, sir,
Lindell
please.
Lambright. I live in West Trace, one of the villages, Augusta Village, and on the golf course. I live on the end towards Myrtle Springs. And I moved here from Moss Bluff to retire, enjoy life, play some golf, have a men's association, and of course we don't have that, so I spend my money in Lake Charles now, about $4,000 a year, because we don't have that. But the peace and quiet, the outdoor kitchen I built, sitting outside every morning, feels special to me. I do not need guns being shot out and stuff you don't really know. There's at the Chenault Air Base where they have the other driving range. There's been a guy on a train that's been hit by a bullet from the driving range, and most people don't know that. I think it'll devalue my property. I also own a lot I just purchased right next to me. That's going to devalue that lot. And it costs $100 a square foot to build a house, and you got to do so much dirt work. I feel like the whole development, you can't build a house and make money. If I had to sell it now and pay a realtor fee, I would probably lose money. So we're heading in the wrong direction in the first place by not finishing all this stuff. So, the gun range, I feel would devalue my property and my future property that I have. I was gonna build a spec house on that. I'm gonna table that probably and try to sell it. But I don't need to lose money, but I enjoy it here. I moved here for the golf course to retire in Westlake, enjoy myself. And hearing gunshots on the driving range is not enjoyable. Plus, my kid is building a house right now. He's a shift worker, and I don't know if anybody ever thought about what's that to do to a shift worker or any camps you have in the area. They're going to have day and night workers. You're going to keep them awake, plus the dangers, and that's mainly what I have to say.
Thank you, Lindell.
Yes.
Robert Boudreau, is that correct? Robert?
Yeah, I'm Robert Boudreau. I live off of Windywood Road. Really what I wanted to do is just recognize the police chief and his men of how good of a job they've done on getting the dump trucks under control. It's been night and day, you know, since they've really put an effort into it, and it's appreciated by everybody. So, also I'd like to thank the council and the mayor for taking into consideration the concerns that the residents had on the original location of the crew camp. I just wanted to thank you all.
Thank you, Robert. Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Rocca to disapprove reopening and a second by Mr. Brown. I'll ask you to cast your vote. I have 4 for disapproval, which is Mr. Hayes, Ms. Bates, Mr. Brown, Mr. Rocca. We have Mr. Cryer voting against the motion. It passes. It does not reopen. Okay, the second one, the next one is F. Let me clear that out. I need a motion and a second to approve or disapprove introducing ordinance 888. This ordinance is to amend Part 12, Chapter 6 of the Sign Regulations Section 12609 for the City Code of Ordinances regarding billboards. I need a motion and a second to approve or disapprove that. Mr. Brown?
Making a motion to approve.
To approve. Mr. Hayes seconded. Any discussion on that item?
You want to tell them what that?
Yes, sir, you
actually-
sure, whatever you'd like to discuss, sir, it's your meeting.
I think that's, the sign, the size of the signs will be, you said 12 by 20?
25.
Sir?
25.
12 by 25, and the height would be 35 foot, no higher than 35 foot from the ground up. That's what that, the amending part of that is, the size and the height of the signs.
So that's not as big as the interstate signs, right?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay.
It's the same sign, the size of the urgent care sign that they have out there right now would be the size of it.
Okay.
Does it specify to be a digital sign or just?
Doesn't specify.
Doesn't specify?
No, sir.
He in 3 locations right now, doesn't he?
Is,
No, it,
Mr. Brown, is there anything on the digital signs as far as view, lighting, what's in our ordinance, Stephen, if y'all can help me on this?
I don't have it in front of me. Do you have the ordinance?
On the brightness of signs. I can
there is,
remember.
there is an ordinance, illumination, you know,
Okay.
that can't be cast out on people's homes.
Okay.
Things like that.
What y'all did basically also, if I'm not mistaken, Kenny and Jeremy took this ordinance and they revised it and met with our attorney, Stephen. And this is real close to what the parish has, am I correct?
Pretty much, pretty much.
Okay, have a
Reminder,
motion?
this is just an introduction, so any changes can occur if you decide to make any changes before the
It's-
adoption next month.
This is introduction only, okay? Sir, if you, it's in the ordinance, I don't know that, that's
300.
In the ordinance, 300 foot.
300 feet, sir. Any other discussion on the item? Cast your vote, please. It's unanimous. Okay, the next one is G. Need a motion and a second to approve or disapprove Resolution 3217. That's a resolution repealing Resolution 2588, lifting the moratorium for billboards. This moratorium was put in place in 2004. I need a motion. Got one by Mr. Brown.
I'd like to make a motion to approve a resolution repealing portions of Resolution 2588, thereby lifting the moratorium on billboard signs which are located more than 2,000 feet in proximity to I-10 within city limits of Westlake, and thereby maintaining the moratorium in place as it applies to any billboard signs within 2,000 feet of I-10.
Oh, great.
You good with that, Mr. Steve?
That's basically keeping the moratorium in place along the interstate.
Great.
Okay. Any more discussion on that item? Thank you, Mr. Brown. I ask you to vote, please.
Who made
I need
the
a
second?
second.
Miss Bates, I'm sorry, I didn't tell you. It's unanimous. Okay, only, the next thing we have is the updates. Mr. Myers?
Mayor and council, most of my activity in projects is involving, state match, city match for state grants, so there's not gonna be, too many positive statements, but, I will bring you up to date in reference to like the first project, the Westlake Golf Course Development subdivision signs, no new activity. Westlake Golf Course Development of the clubhouse, the, additional $500,000 was placed in the bill in priority 2. It has been included in House Bill 2. keep in mind, House Bill 2 is an act that is enrolled, and it doesn't necessarily mean funding, but it does mean that you can be funded if all things are set up. But also that means that you would have to have additional match. So that, right now, we have in priority 1 and priority 2, we have 2.1 million. Well, it's actually a little different than that, but we have the original 1.6 million and then another 500,000 priority 2. So you have a 2.1 million available from the state and requires a 25% match from the state, the city. So that's where that project stands at this point. Westlake Golf Course, in reference to Westlake Golf Course Oakmont subdivision, there's been no new activity. The Johnstein Road project, we're in 90% design part of that project. Bear in mind that this requires a $1.73 million city contribution if that project was going to be built. So at some point in February, maybe, at that point, we're either the city's gonna have to decline and ask the state to, to give up that 4.4 million that they have set aside, or unless some other activity can be arrived at, or other public agencies assisting with us. It is proposed three-lane concrete pavement with curb and gutter, so would be a great asset to the traveling public. It would be nice to have, but somehow or other we'll have to come up with 1.73 million if that's going to happen. But it would definitely be delayed. You can see that. Moving on to Myrtle Springs, there's no use. That's been moved back to 15-16, and there again, that would be requiring 80-20. It's 80% DOTD funded and 20% city. So at this time, I don't think we need to discuss it. Moving on to the next project with Westlake Golf Course offsite drainage. That's another project that will require considerable state funding, and at this point, I think it'll be just down the road a piece. Then moving to the next project is Linden Ellis Street. This project is probably closer to reality than any project you have. The state did add another 500,000. So right now you have in priority 1, which is a bonded money ready to go. You have $2,115,000 from the state. We have a trust fund monies that been granted last year of 500,000, and a drainage district 5 of 331. So you're actually within $375,000 of being able to construct this road. That's about as close as you can get. That's with a $3 million budget. Hawkins Street, that is a project that's been completed, and if you've been observing, I think just about every house has been built on that road, so it's been a very worthwhile contribution to the city. Sampson Street lift station, Westlake Baptist Church has agreed to sell a portion of the property, and the next step is for the city to select an appraiser and a review appraiser to have it appraised. The gas line to RE Height, that's a completed project. The next project, Carlin Drive Pump Station, that is a project waiting on city match, so that'll be on hold. Jones Street Water Well is another project that, in this case, we're waiting on, I think, adjudicated land from the parish, and that hasn't been finalized yet. Went on to the next one is an LCDBG manhole rehabilitation. We also have attached a map to the back of your report that shows the manholes that are going to be rehabbed. This is going to require a city match of $62,000. Other matters, I just highlighted the various capital outlay projects, and that's your emergency response center. They added another 75,000 priority 2, but at the same time, when the state gives you another 75, that means your match goes up 25. So the city match for that project would be $358,333. And the next project is a new water well on Jones Street, which is priority 1 of 425. And the third project was a compressed natural gas fueling station acquisition planning. You've been listed at a priority 2 of 1,240,000. The next project is utility and street improvements for a proposed hotel. And we put all these in because you can't go during the year. These people saying, well, we need these things, but you got to plan ahead and put these projects in the budget and hopefully get them funded if you come up with a project. So that's the reason the monies are available, and that amount would be like 540,000. There are some serious contenders that would like to consider building a hotel on your properties. And the next item was the golf course development. That's where I told you we increased the funding from another additional 500,000 to $1,006,000. That's in priority 2. The sixth project was a gas regulated station and line extension. And this project is listed priority 2, 450. We may solve this project in a different financial way, meeting with the industry at this time. We're waiting on them to respond. And then the last project, which I've already discussed, was Linda and Ellis. Any more questions, Mayor?
No, sir, as you can see, we have about over $9 million of state money with none to match. I'm working with industry, P66, SASO, and others, parish, to help hopefully find some way of helping us match some of these projects. So as it is, we won't be doing any project with the exception, hopefully, of Linda and Ellis, because we're close to that. And if Mr. Milner can find us $365,000 in our tax, we have a dedicated tax for road repair, and we'll see what we can do with that later on down the line. Ms. Bates, can you give an update on your festival committee?
Yes, sir. We've got our picnic, La Ville, excuse me. La Ville Unique Picnic will be September the 19th, and our committees are meeting twice a month. We have a board meeting and we have a officers meeting. And so far, we've got a bond that we're trying to get, which will give us quite a bit of money to advertise for this year and next year for our festival. The reason we're not giving the festival this year is it took a little bit more planning than we anticipated. So we're going to do the picnic, and then we're working on the festival. So we're doing a combination over here. So we're working on one and working on the other. But what we've planned for the picnic is we're going to do a little bit of what we have planned for the festival. And what we're doing is we're using our local artists, our local heritage. So we're having French bands, we're having local artists, we're having possibly the Indians to come. We're using all that we have around here. And that's our entertainment, and that's what we're trying to build up. And we're wanting you all to come to the picnic. We're not going to have any food to sell. Bring your own picnic and come out and meet us, and let's all meet and greet and start over again, as we did many years before. Okay? Any questions?
What's the day again, ma'am?
September the 19th. And it's going to be at 9 o'clock till 9
Where is it going to be?
at Ponderosa Park. And it's going to be at the big pavilion where the fields are. We have the large pavilion over there and all that parking area. The whole area is designated for us that day. And we have the fire department, the police department, and the mayor all behind us. Okay?
And the city council.
And the city council.
Okay, just a little update. I know there's, I don't, like I said, I do not do Facebook. I don't believe in it too much. There's nothing on the table as of right now about anything for a workers' village But again, I want to tell you, I have to look at every possibility, okay? Right now, the issue up by the park has been eliminated, okay? But, again, don't take it wrong that I'm not gonna look at something to raise revenue. You hear all this? 1.7 million, 1.4 million, 1.3, 9 people short public works, 3 policemen, the whole 9 yards, with impact of what we gotten through Sasol. Yes, Mr. Will Rye's done a great job of going out there, and he's stopping the trucks. They know they're not supposed to be on McKinley, Johnstein, anywhere off the main roads. The money that's has gone to the city. We don't get any money, and we don't have any money to repair what they tear up. They're not gonna do McKinley Street like they did Evergreen Drive. We're ticketing them. Sasol set a very high rate on them. If they get a ticket from Westlake, or any ticket, they're being terminated due to a safety violation, okay? And they've eliminated a few drivers. They know they're not supposed to be in Westlake. If you see them, shoot a phone, take a picture of the back of the truck. It's gonna have a Kent, because there's other people working here. It's not just Sasol. You gotta give Kim and Mike a little bit of relief there. There's other dump trucks driving our roads. It's not supposed to be there. So we wanna make sure that we satisfy them. Again, we have to look for some revenue. We got $9 million that we can't match a dollar. We got $1.7 million. We trimmed it. Guys, we've cut this budget down to the bare bone. We can't have a bobble, okay? But what you see in the night is good numbers. It's accurate. You go to Jerry anytime you want to go. This council knows that. And they also know that the auditor, it's yours. It's your audit. If you live inside the city limits of Westlake, or I don't care if you live outside, if you want a copy of this budget, come get you one. If you can understand it, Jerry's made it. I had Jerry make it to where I could understand it, like my home. Jan tells me, we made this much money, we got this many bills, we're gonna put this much money up, and you can have your $20 I've been giving you since 1974, okay? But that's where we're at today. I promise you they're good numbers. And yeah, I know, Mom, I get a little more than that now, but that's what I got in 74, we got married. Just remember that I promise you, there's no hidden agenda up here. If something comes out, you're gonna have an open hearing, we're gonna open it and let them people talk. That's what it's about. It's your community, it ain't ours. And we'll vote on it accordingly. But just remember, we have to generate revenue. We need to generate revenue. Because if we don't, we have a big major thing. If a hurricane comes, please spend some time on your knees. Pray that no hurricane hits Westlake. We can't afford a hurricane. We can barely afford that fancy sewer thing we had to buy, Jerry? It was some Brad, what's that thing called? A bar screen. He come in, man, I cut a job, we're not gonna spend $150,000. I said, great. And the next day, he come in and said, we gotta spend $115 on a bar screen. Then you didn't make us real happy. So Jerry, every day, Jerry and I meet about the numbers in the city of Westlake. Every day, we know where we're at, and we know what we gotta do. Bear with us. They got tough decisions to make. Are you going to make everybody in Westlake happy all the time? I had 3 kids, couldn't get but 2 to agree to anything, okay? So we're going to do the things we have to do to adjust for the city. It's going to happen, okay? Chief Wheelwright, would you like to give a report, sir?
Don't have anything at this time.
Okay, sir. Is Jock here? No, Jock's at school. Mr. Baker says he's good. How about you, Jerry? I'm good. Jerry, thank you for the budget report, and we need that to have like a comma and some digits behind it. The 252 was okay, but I'd rather 252,000. Okay, they are holding their own. Jerry basically looked at them and told David and Jerry in a meeting and says, "You're on your own. We don't have any to give you. Make it work." And they have. They've increased revenue. For it to be a zero, we knew when we built the course it would take 3 to 5 years to be a zero. You can't build a new home and not have a zero. You got to pay, okay? They've done exceptionally well. Dave Casper on crew with Jerry, they've done excellent, and I commend them for that. Mr. Milner, it says financial director, but I think would you like one more thing, sir? All right.
You said anybody can come get copies, they have to pay for them.
Oh, yeah, yeah. That's how tight he is. Okay?
It will be available on the website.
Afterwards? Afterward, you just signed up?
No, sir, I didn't. It was in regards to Betty Bates is the festival committee. I wanted to make a little announcement about our festival. It's positive.
Is it?
Yes, sir.
Hey, get up there. I need something positive. You have exactly 2 minutes.
That's all I need. I just want to give all the councilmen, one of the things that are on the committee we talked about was having a lot of games and getting the school kids involved and church groups involved in games. And one of the games we're talking about is a Dunkin' booth. And I think Kenny's gonna know right where I'm coming from.
He was telling me how excited he was.
One of the things we talked about is getting Hal McMillan and our powers that be and Jeremy. I don't know if I can mess up Skeeter's hair though.
Oh, he can. He'll be glad to, ma'am.
But you know, and that it'd be fun to get some of the powers that be and the ministers and Hal McMillan, to all get them to jump in that, race.
Not me.
Not you, Betty.
Not
Betty,
me.
we didn't say a word about you, Betty. But that's some of the things that we do talk about, and getting the high school girls together
Sure.
and having different little games, and it, along with the Dunkin' booth. But we want to make, we thought it'd be interesting to have the powers that be and the ministers and all in the Dunkin' booth.
I think you need some of the local principals from the schools.
Hey, that's a good idea. Get Jerry Green. I'll add it to the list.
As long as you get the baseball team and the softball team to go ahead and do that.
Okay.
We're really trying to get games going for the children, the adults, the families. We're having contests among the children and the teenagers and then and families. We're trying to really bring all of this together. So we'd like your participation and we'd like your input and help.
I need a motion and a second to approve or disapprove the reports. Motion by Mr. Brown to approve. Mr. Cryer, second. Need a vote, please. Now we need a motion to adjourn. Mr. Brown, Mr. Rocca.
Second.
We stand adjourned.